Welcome to the Progressive Mindset Podcast. My name is Natalie Potts, business development coach and mentor, and each week I'll be bringing you an inspiring personal message to help you unlock creating a life full of energy, action, impact and happiness. And today I'm going to share with you my experience of RTT, otherwise known as a Rapid Transformational Therapy. So this came into my life about 14 months ago when I was going through a time or a year where I'd had a bit of time off of, burnout, which I'm not going to go into now because I've done that before. And then I was doing some private therapy, and I think in the time space between that and getting NHS CBT, I went and found Rapid Transformational Therapy. So I'm really particular about who I work with on anything that I do or collaborate with, and that the relationships is both ways, and it works for you, it works for them, and it works for myself. And you have to both be honest on that, because otherwise it's not going to be right, and you're probably not going to get the output that you want. So I found a lady local to me, and I was quite nervous about the experience of thinking about, because it involves hypnotherapy and hypnosis, going under into a state. But I was like, do you know what, I've got to lose? I've done things in the past, like I've been to a medium and I've been to a tarot reading, but that was more caught up in a moment of just kind of despair and absolute devastation with splitting with someone, which at the time was really hard, and I was just kind of going for anything then. And I thought, and I always think, why not just give everything a go? What have I got to lose? So I found RTT, and my gosh, the experience, every time I've had this experience, I come out of it going, oh my goodness, wow. So it's not something I don't think you could do all the time. So let me explain a little bit more around what it is to give a bit more context. And there's loads online about this as well. So Marissa Peer is to be known as the UK's #1 therapist. At the time, I'd never really heard of her much and was looking at things. And strangely, and I'm not sure if it's just because I'm more aware of her, but she's been rocking up in everything in America at the moment, with all of these inspirational entrepreneurs like Lewis Howes. I think she was with Mel Robbins. I saw her on loads of things, just sharing her story, what she does. So she has come up with RTT, and it is a pioneering therapy that is based on neuroscience that offers fast, effective results. So essentially, you should only need up to 3 sessions, and it involves hypnotherapy, psychotherapy, NLP, and CBT. Now, CBT, actually within NHS, when I did do that experience, didn't really work for me, but I tried it. NLP fascinates me, psychotherapy fascinates me, and hypnotherapy does. There is so many types of therapists out there that you have to find what works for you. And I think you have to think about, what's the goal here? What do I want to achieve by going and doing this? Or you could just be open-minded, but I'm really specific on the fact that I need to get an output from it. So whilst it's therapy and you look to the past, I know that, but I'm very future-facing. My work with coaching is always just, what you want to achieve going forward. We don't look to the past with coaching, but I want to then establish, that's where I'm at. I need to learn to let go of that. I don't want to have it hold me back. I don't want to have regrets. I don't want to keep fearing things. So what do I need to change and do to help me as I move forward? Because those are going to just continually create obstacles for me on any journey, whether it's my business, my life, any relationships. And I'll come on to that because I think that's really important. And that's why I really focus people on looking at all 3 areas. It's not just, you can't just depict one area and say, well, let's make that amazing and everything else will be amazing. It just doesn't work like that. We're not robots, we're human beings. And I think we have to be aware of those changes in ourselves and aware that that can't probably happen. If it does, let me know, because I'd love to hear about that experience. So if you could have all 3 areas going top dollar for you, all the time, you have to work on them. So RTT delivers extraordinary permanent change, and it's around looking at your physical, emotional and psychological pain. And I'm not preaching this saying that I am a therapist or got any qualifications in that at all, so don't quote me on this, but I am sharing my experience and sharing a little bit of context about how it came about and what it means, because it's important. And it reframes your core beliefs, your values, your habits and emotions deep in your subconscious. So I've shared this before. Your subconscious can't deal with what you can't do. It only looks at what you can do. And it is about then rewiring the neural pathways, which is obviously the NLP side of things. And RTT replaces any outdated beliefs or systems that we have, and therefore any negative behaviours, habits, etc. And you create this new life-affirming beliefs and what you really want. And that's when the healing process begins. So what was my experience? My experience was that, or actually I've done it twice now. So the lady that I have is amazing. If anybody wants to know more about her, let me know and I'll share her details if she doesn't mind me doing that, which I'm pretty sure she wouldn't. She gets you into a state where once she's done all the pre-work and consultation stuff, found out about you, and I know her now, so she's actually, what was amazing is she still had details and remembers stuff from my last experience, which was really useful for me, because then we picked this one up like a second, which I thought was really useful. And I thought I really appreciate the fact she did that. It helps to build that relationship between us and continue it. So I feel very at ease when I do this now. So we picked up on things, and it was to build on it, really. I think what I learned in the first one was I went looking to kind of rewire some habits that were bad and that were impacting me in life daily, and a lot stemmed around control and this obsessiveness of being perfect on everything, and doing everything right, and integrity. And actually what it does is it just drains you. So I then have built on that awareness since I've done that and continued, and I let a lot of stuff go. I realised that done is better than perfect. Progress is more important than perfection. So I think that's really helped me, and I learned a lot about myself. So coming up to this experience, being more in the moment, I recognised in myself the last few weeks that I've had a lot going on in different areas of my life. And like we all do, we've all got little certain struggles at the moment. It's very, very challenging. And I think if you just sit there and say that it's not, then you're in denial, and that's not healthy either. And there's very much like a change curve that people will go through. And I think you have to accept that you will go on that journey. How long you stay in each can be a little bit of a choice, but I think most of it's choice, actually, depending on what you want and how you choose to reframe things and get yourself out of that. It's only going to be you that does that, no one else. But I noticed that I was a bit stressed. I found it really hard not being connected to people. And I am a very social person. I adore my friends. I adore my family. And I haven't been able to see them. And I've really, really, really struggled with that. I live on my own, but I love that. And I'll come on to that in a moment, because that's also important to reflect on. But I was just finding that I was getting a bit stressed at things. I was missing them. I don't cry much, and that's not a good thing always. So, because it's a purge of emotions, and we know that sometimes when we cry, we're like a little child, it's like after we've done it, or they'll do that, a little child do that, that breathing, panting, and then after, it's just the body's way of doing what it knows to recover, and it goes into a fight or flight mode. So our body doesn't want us to be in pain. It wants us to be healed, and it wants us to be strong, and it will do the right things for us. So sometimes it's okay to freaking cry, but I was noticing that, and then I was noticing that some of the behaviours that I was doing, I creeped in those bad habits. The ones that I don't want in my life. So I also have this thing where I've got better at it, but I can put a defence barrier up. I can make people feel like they know me, but they don't, and that's not always good. And you need to show a bit of vulnerability, and I truly believe this. You need to show sensitivity, empathy, sympathy and empathy, but they're very different, and you have to be conscious of that. But I needed to be able to feel those emotions. So the experience this time was different, and she puts you into a state where she gets you into hypnosis, right? And you lie in that state of, and if I do say anything wrong and people are more qualified than me, I do apologise, but that's tough because I'm giving it a go. And like I said, I'm not qualified, so I'm not coming from that perspective. I'm coming from how it's helped me. And you're in a state, and I can only say it's like a limbo, where it's almost like if you close your eyes, obviously, and you're very deep breathing, and it's like somebody's looking on you, or you're looking on yourself, and you're just lying there asleep, and you're in this limbo of awake, not awake. For some strange reason, I deliberately tried to open my eyes this time. I was literally like, open your eyes, and I just couldn't. And I was a bit like, am I overthinking this, or can I just not open my eyes? So she then asks you lots of questions and we get into the moments, and she asked me to draw upon an example of an age when I was a couple of years ago, and what was going on, and she talks you into it, and they use certain language to talk you into it. I noticed that this time, really, really interesting, and gets you to repeat certain things or say them out loud. So then I was asked to draw upon an example of when I was in my teens, and it was so interesting. I drew upon an example when I was at drama, and I used to love drama. And I said, oh, I'm standing at the side of the stage, there's a spotlight in the middle, all the class are watching, but they're in the darkness, but I can just see them. I'm going into the room with 3 other people on the stage, and we're in the spotlight, it's our moment, and I'm loving it. And then I just burst into tears. And I was telling my mum and dad about this experience after, actually. And my mum laughed. She was like, oh my God, you didn't again. You didn't burst that kind. I was like, I did. So, and I'm very, very open with my parents. I've always been big on that. If I'm going through a hard time, I tell them. And if I'm, if it's great, because we shouldn't be keeping things like that from anybody. We should be able to share things. And if it's not your mum and dad, I just mean people. We should be able to be open and share things with people in our lives that are very, very close to us about those things that mean a lot to us. I'd never want to be someone, I never have thoughts of suicide or anything like that. I don't. I help people that have those with shout, but I'm never, fortunately, and I do think it's fortunate, I'm never in that place of depression in that way or those thoughts. I do have different times when you just feel flat and numb, or I work myself to the ground. That's what I seem to do in my ways of managing things. So yeah, I shared it with my parents, and I was like, yeah, I was in drama, and I burst into tears. And what I realised was that in drama, I just, and I'd probably do it now, that if I was to go and act, that I get in this state, and I did a drama degree as well, so where I absolutely love it, and I get those butterfly nerves in my stomach that I never really get now in life. I have to go and put myself out of my comfort zone to get them, and that was hence one of the reasons I do a lot of the photo shoots with the fitness stuff a couple of years ago, because that is a situation that makes me feel those nerves. I just don't feel them, and it's not a good thing for me. I need to feel a little bit nervous at times. I always remember when going for an interview, you should feel nerves. My mum said that. She was like, you should feel a bit nervous, and I was like, well, I don't. It doesn't mean I didn't care, but it's actually showing me that I can't get my emotions out in a way that I probably need to. It will help me, and it holds me back. So yeah, I burst into tears again, and I then noticed it was because I miss that creativity side. I miss the freedom, just going and doing it. Just the feelings I got from it, and I'm a feeling person, so yeah, I will go a lot on that. And then she asked me to draw upon an example of a child, and she did this again, similar situations in the time before. And I said about a time when I was at school and we had a supply teacher, and I got to go to the loo. She shouted at me, like barked at me, sit down, where do you think you're going? And then she came, and it's freaking weird to say this now. Like, you'd think, what? But I remember she stroked my hair, and she was like, oh, because she realised she was in the wrong. And I just went completely into myself, shutdown mode, barriers up. And I can feel it now. It's really odd. And I hated it, absolutely hated that moment. And she apologised and stuff. And then I just wasn't the same after that. I was always really quiet at school, strangely. Then yeah, I reckon I remember I was talking it through, you see, with RTT. I said, I haven't got space. Now, in the second scenario of drama, I made the point about I've got space around me. There's just 3 people in the middle of the room, and there's loads of space, and I feel calm, I feel free. And calm was a big word that was coming across and everything. So I was like, wow, this is odd. And then she draws all of examples and everything, and then we move forward to rewire stuff, and then say more what we can do, etc., and what you're going to do. And she then does a 20-minute recording, and you have to listen to that for the next 7 days, AM and PM. So often I do it just before I go to sleep, and it works me into sleep, which is exactly what you should be doing, which I love. So it's kind of a meditation for me at the moment. I'm in the moment, I'm in a state, and I'm calm. And then I then have to continue listening to it at least 21 days, once a day. So yeah, I'm really committed to it. Last time I wasn't as much on the re-listening to the tape, and I should have. So I know, again, that's a commitment in itself, that you have to do the next part. It's not just a one-off session. So yeah, I just absolutely loved it. I am thrilled that there's some things come through. And then when I was saying about it to my mum about the space thing, she was like, "You are weird with space." Obviously, very honest, aren't they, parents? I said, "No, I'm not weird with it." I said, "But I do like my space." So, and that goes back to even like I'm saying, when I'm at home, like if I can work with people in a busy environment, if I've led big teams or I've been around people all day, I can very much be an extrovert. I get my energy from being around people, from connecting with people in that way, in terms of with work. And I love that connection. But what's led me to then look at this is that in itself, the knowing about where do I get my energy. And a few things I've listened to this week where it said about the fact that, well, like how do you get your energy? And I'm huge on energy with clients. I was working with a client this week, and strangely, he just wants to have. He's very much an introvert. We did DISC profiling, which is what I'm accredited to do. It's a personality profile, and there was a real strong compliance structure, steady coming out. Finds it, but wants to be able to lead a team. That's the overall, we're talking about a 5-year goal. Actually, we worked right backwards to kind of 3 months working together, and he really wants to work on energy and how he has impact and influence with a team. So that's a huge thing in terms of the impact that he has and how he shows up, the shadow you cast, and the fact that actually the feedback he's getting is in his leadership team and from his line manager is also the same things as what he's feeling. And so he needs to be able to change that in order to progress and develop in his career. So energy is big. And I've noticed that I am an introvert more. So you can't just strictly say, and when you look into the research of this, there's loads out there, generally people aren't a dead extrovert and a dead introvert. They do sit between the two. But an extrovert, very much, if you looked at Myers-Briggs MBTI, so if anyone's done MBTI, again, personality profiling, some people argue it was done by men, therefore it's outdated and it's not relevant. I don't get into the intricacies of that. I just look at what it could mean to me. What could I take from it and learn, and what would I not learn? I know I'm at ENFJ, so again, that's that extrovert point. Very intuitive. I go on a lot of feelings and judgment. So interesting. I know I am very attached to feelings about things, and I ask people, how does that make you feel? Quite a lot, especially when I'm coaching, because I think that it can allow us to be more self-aware. So being an extrovert is about the energy you get from other people, and you like making things happen, you like taking action, you generally feel very home in the world, and you understand that it's best to talk out loud and hear what others say. So you might be seen as outgoing or a people person. People say you're very comfortable in groups and you like working around lots of people, and you kind of jump in quickly to an activity. You don't allow much time to think about stuff. So I guess years ago, I used to very much be that. And that's actually when I did MBTI. And they say that you can't change, and it's your personality. But actually, often they are done on a typical moment and in an environment. So environments change. We know environments can have a massive impact. So therefore, there is potential, in my opinion, that a personality profile could slightly change. And that's why I'm saying you don't take these as gospel, like, oh my goodness, that's me. You take what it means to you in bits, but you take a step back and think, where does that show up? Where can I bring that to life? Am I always like that, or is that a one-off? Or is there certain environments I'm like that? Is there certain people I'm around? So you can explore and be curious with loads of these personality profiles. Introvert is that you like getting your energy from dealing with ideas, pictures, memories, reactions in your head, and your inner world. This is very much me, I've noticed. And I'm hoping you're kind of thinking, yeah, I'm definitely that, or I'm definitely, an extrovert or introvert. So, I love being around people, but I need to be at home. I love to have my space. And I say that, and that's why it was so interesting that it came up in RTT, this thing about space. And I said to my mum, I said, I'll be honest, if someone tries to touch my neck, I'll probably instant, and I've done it a couple of times, which isn't great. And I don't mean I sound like I'll be locked up actually, but I have a reactive state where I'd probably just give you a whack if you touch my neck or got close to me and I wasn't expecting it. It's this, like when someone makes you jump. I don't kind of go close. I just go like defense out. It's so odd. And and then probably end up apologising. Hopefully I will never do anything really bad. But it's that instant reaction. Again, it's that fight or flight, and that's how I react. I guess I'm aware of it now, but I don't know how I can actually change that. But I will take the time to, I'm very, very reflective. Like, I overthinking at times. I can be reserved very much, and I feel very comfortable on my own. And I think this is where it links to this loneliness part, that I'm not lonely at the moment. I love my time on my own. I love getting in and putting my feet up and just chilling, doing what I want to do. And even when I've lived with people, I have often said, I just need half an hour when I get in. I know that sounds crazy to people, but just give me half an hour to sort my stuff out, to sort me out, to chill, to get my PJs, go and have a shower, do what I want to do, and then I'm everything you need me to be. But I just want that time for me for a minute. I'm, when people are like, I could have a week on my own, quite easy. I go traveling on my own. I've been to Rome on my own, been to New York. I've absolutely loved it. And people, they message you a week up to, I'm like, oh, I'm in Rome. They're like, oh, who are you with? And I'm like, yeah, I'm on my own. And like, you're on your own. I'm like, yeah, I love it. Like, I am very happy doing that. I take time out, I'll read, I write, I just, I'm really into looking at culture as I get older with things and history. So yeah, I'm finding that that's me evolving as a person. And I'm very reflective, so I don't tend to always quickly jump in on things. I'll be conscious of that. I also know that this means that when I'm in a room, say it's a corporate environment, and I was in, this is just to give a bit of context, again, an example and bring it to life, but if I'm, with a group of senior leaders and I always say I'm at the table, I will not be that person that jumps in straight away. I won't be the me, hand up, I know the answer, I've done this, I've done that. I kind of sit there and see how the room, I will watch the room, I will watch behaviours, I'll watch how people interact, and then I'll probably, and I've been told that you don't say a lot, but when you do, you cut the room like a knife. So I would rather have more impact. I don't think we need to constantly talk. I think that we don't listen enough. So I will deliberately try and do that listening part. And then what I do say, I want to have impact, absolutely. And I want it to be down, like right down to the core of the exact message. I don't want any ambiguity. I will give it clear as everything I want to. So really interesting to look at the extrovert and introvert. So think of how you show up, maybe what would others say about you as well, and the impact that has. And I'm drawing this in because I think it's really important that we know that we shouldn't be embarrassed to say that we are getting therapy. I still feel with mental health and the work that I do with Shout as a volunteer, that having these conversations are a taboo, or that people get nervous, they're not confident in knowing what to say. I'm trained with Shout, but I will directly say to somebody, I just need to check in for your safety. Are you taking your life today? Years ago, I used to think you could never say that, but you actually have to. And there is, that's not for everybody to say, like, you do have to feel confident, but sometimes we just need to face into that. Know that we won't always say the right thing. Be open to have to relearn something. I think we need to be better at that. And then when we are like that, we don't seem to fear the same things. Yeah. Fear, sometimes we just fear. And actually what we need to do is know that if we don't go and fail at things, we're not going to be able to move forward. We have to get over that. So know that talking about something like this RTT and this hypnotherapy, I'm doing it from the intention that I want to change my life and I want to be better, and that I'm tired at times and I'm frustrated and I'm bored and I'm annoyed that certain things hold me back. And I don't want to be on my deathbed or in a situation years to come where I regret things. I don't want that. So I recognise that we should be more grateful for things in life. I recognise that we should be more self-aware. I recognise that we should have a stronger attitude of gratitude for everything. And I think that we should be more grateful for the basics in life of what we have and who we have, and appreciate those. So if I'm looking at making myself better, it's only a better thing if I share that with others, and if I inspire people, where I'm taking the strength that I have. So I work with people when I coach on their strengths. We look at weaknesses if we need to, but I know I've done a lot of research and I've worked with some people that are just high performance coaches, because again, I'm really into personal development, and they work on strengths. And we can have this argument or you like. For me, it works with my clients and myself that we work on strengths. One of mine is I'm absolutely stupidly confident. And I say stupidly because I'll be that person that would jump up on a TED talk and just talk. They'd say you've got a presentation 10 minutes. And okay, cool. What do you want me to talk about? And I just go with it. And I wouldn't be panicking about things. So I probably take some of that for granted. But I use that confidence to say that actually I'm going to use it in a great way for everybody and talk about the great work I do in mental health that's impacting a lot of people at the moment. And it's only going to get worse, in my opinion, if we don't have more people talking about this in a good way, in a productive, active way. And again, therapy. I think that when you're in America, it becomes a bit of the norm. Coaching's more of the norm in America than the UK. But, things like hypnotherapy can really help anxiety, phobias, substance abuse, whether it's tobacco, alcohol, sexual desires, behaviours, bad habits, pain management. It can help. It can help with effects of pregnancy, digestive, skin disorders, chemotherapy. There is so much. It even helps in dentistry as well, with you grind your teeth and things, and all these kind of behaviors and what we do. It's in our psychological what we're doing, and it's that mind body connection part that we have to work on. They aren't separate, they're together. And that's what I'm trying to get across here, is how important it is, and that if we feel connection with our mind and body, connection with each other, that something's missing, go and work on it, close that gap. And that's what I've been doing. Like I said, I don't feel lonely, but I feel isolated. And I feel isolated to the point where I'm gutted at times that I can't see friends and family, and I can't go around for a cuppa, or do I want to do, or you feel that you're bad because you want to go for a walk with someone. And that's how I take it a bit at the moment. And then I get bad because I feel that way about something that I shouldn't, and I should be grateful and I should have gratitude. And I'm like, but why can't I feel that? So I think there is lots in that. It's lots around a connection. And what I hope it invites you to do is to understand where you are, understand if you're more extrovert or an introvert. If you'd love to do a strengths finder with me and find out what your strengths are and how you communicate with others and how others can communicate with you better, hook me up and let me know, and I will get you sorted with a coaching session and the profiling for DISC. I am a big advocate of it. I think it's underestimated, and I think people actually don't face into those. They think they know themselves really, really well when they don't, and they think that, no, I don't need that, when actually they probably do. But that's for them to work out. That's not for me to tell them. So yes, thank you so much for listening today. I do always really appreciate your time. Please listen to my previous podcast. There is loads of goal setting, energy. I've got more around just one podcast on DISC, loads. So please have a look through, share them, connect with me on social media. I'm at Natalie Potts Coaching everywhere, apart from my Facebook community, which is Your Inner Greatness. And I love to hear from you. So drop me a question, share this episode with a friend, and let me know if this has been of use to you. But as always, whatever you do, have a great day.